Thanks for your company. I'm Bernice Abubeidu-Lansa. We are coming to you live from digital address GA0992539 in Kokomlemle, Accra. Now, 7 Chinese nationals have been arrested for engaging in illegal mining in the western region by the Operation Vanguard team. The suspects were arrested in a day-long patrol on Tuesday, August 27, in and around Anyamote in the Wasai Krupon district. The 7 have been handed over to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, IMCIM, for further action. 2 locally manufactured rifles, a pump-action gun, including some other equipment, were found in their possession. An excavator they were operating was also seized and handed over to the IMCIM. Public Relations Officer of the Operation Vanguard team, Captain Andrew Soate, confirmed the arrest to Joy News.
We conducted the operation in the general area of Anya Mote in the Wasai Krupon district. We were able to conduct the operation based on intelligence that we gathered over a period of time, and then with assistance from local informants who were able to help us identify the areas where these Chinese nationals have been operating illegally. Currently, they are in the custody of a team from the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, pending further action. As per our mandate, once we arrest these suspected illegal miners, we hand them over to civil police for further investigations, or to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining if they are foreign nationals. So they are the ones who actually do most of the interrogations, to be able to get more information from the suspect.
Another concern that's come up is oftentimes when these Chinese nationals are picked up, instead of prosecution, they're just deported. What's the guarantee that it won't go the same way this time round, and that they would actually be prosecuted? Our
current directive is for us to be handing them over to the Ministerial Committee, right. So somebody from the committee will be the best person to speak to that. So we cannot say categorically as Operation Vanguard right now that they will be repatriated or they will be prosecuted. So it will be best to speak to somebody from the IMCIM on it.
PRO of Operation Vanguard speaking to Araba Kumsin earlier on News Desk. Now, in our Dear Nanado series today, we put a spotlight on the reality of joblessness in the country and how the government says is dealing with the situation. The mini documentary tells the stories of ordinary people, family men and women, who are struggling to survive because they have no jobs. But they have a message for the president. They're reminding him of his promise to build factories that would create jobs across the country. That's coming up here later this evening on Joy News Prime, but here's a sneak peek of what to expect.
Many residents of Nyungwa gathered here are politically active. Kwame concedes that the president still has many promises to fulfill, especially creating jobs.
Youth, because of
the youth need jobs. They are indulging a lot of social vices. They are becoming armed robbers, weed smokers, and alcoholics. If they had jobs, they wouldn't engage in these. Look at the issues of kidnapping. If the person is not working and is hungry, you have the thought to do evil. If I'm asked to write a letter to the president, I will tell him that, as a child, I'm pleading that he pays attention to Nungwa. I've lived here for 24 years, and I've never seen any government project here. So I'm on behalf of the youth pleading that he puts up a company for us.
I really vote for him. I really vote for Nana Akufo-Addo. Yeah, I vote for him.
Samuel Adokwe lost his job last year. His company needed to cut down cost of production, so he was laid off. Securing another job has been difficult.
Yeah, I do remember he promised that he will bring one factory and one district. That's what's killing me now, because as I'm talking to you right now, I don't have work. I'm not working.
Well, do expect more later on Joy News Prime. Meanwhile, Employment and Labour Relations Minister Ignatius Bafwewa says in 2 years, a total of 1.5 million jobs have been provided through government's Planting for Food and Jobs program. Speaking at a media briefing in Accra a couple of weeks ago, he stated the social intervention, together with others, have led to a decline in Ghana's unemployment figures.
It is my pleasure to announce that during the period under review, a total of 611,397 jobs were created in the formal sector. Out of this figure, the ministries, departments, and agencies accounted for 343,458 jobs, whilst the formal private sector also created 267,939 jobs. In addition to these new jobs in the formal sector, the ever-famous Planting for Food and Jobs program is estimated to have created 1,593 jobs from 2017 to date. The figures from the respective institutions can be accessed from the ministry's website, www.melr.gov.gh. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the good news about the falling unemployment rate from 11.9% in 2015 to 7.1% in 2019, you will all agree with me that there has been a relatively stable and peaceful industrial atmosphere.
You heard the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations giving some statistics on the unemployment figures and how government, according to him, has reduced that. Now, Deputy Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Kwesi Boateng-Adjei, is blaming the wasteful and non-prudent management of state resources as reviewed in the Auditor General's report on weak supervision by heads of various municipal, metropolitan and district assemblies. Now, the recent Auditor General's report sent to Parliament indicates a phenomenon of financial malfeasance, and most of the MMDA still persists. Speaking on the sidelines of the commissioning of an office complex for the Ghana South Municipal Assembly, Mr. Boateng-Adjei urged MMDAs to repent.
I agree with you that there are a number of infractions that year in, year out become exposed by the Auditor General. The cure to it is vigilance and the assembly staff allowing the laws of the land to operate. For instance, procurement issues. There are strict procurement laws. If you even buy something and you want to use it, you have to pass it through the source. And the law requires that any item that is bought passes through source. If you don't pass it through the source, it doesn't get captured in the Assembly's expenditure arrangements. So if the auditors come and you have no store receipt covering that thing, that will be indicated as an infraction. But there are human beings who are involved in the process. So you have the chief executive, you have the coordinating director, you have the finance officer, you have the stores, the officers and all of them. What would be able to handle these issues so that we won't have a repetition of them is for these officers of the assemblies to play the rules as they know by way of the rules that have been laid down for the implementation of those things.
Now, the flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has assured chiefs and people of Busunu, a suburb of the Savannah region, of his party's commitment to developing the town he voted into power in 2020. According to the former president, the NDC has proven over the years as being the best in ensuring development in Busunu. He was speaking on the first of a two-day official visit to the Savannah region.
Upon arriving this afternoon, I was given this mug to wear, one that is named after my wife Ladina, and I'm grateful to you all. What I want all the constituencies in Ghana to do is to learn from what has happened in Daboya. Recently, the party opened nominations for all interested candidates to file to contest for the parliamentary primaries. Laji Obe, who is the incumbent parliamentary candidate for Daboya, contested with 2 other candidates for the primaries. With the grace of God, the incumbent won after the primaries. Fortunately, the 2 other contestants have agreed to put their differences aside and support the incumbent to win his seat. This has to be replicated by all Ghanaians and NDC supporters all over the country, that all will realize that God's time is the best. So if you support your colleague today, you will receive same when it is your turn tomorrow. I want to thank all of you, and also all hands must be on deck to secure victory in the 2020 elections.
Well, the former president's team also visited Damongo, where it paid a courtesy call on the overlord of Yabon, Sulemana Tutuba Boresa I, and asked for his blessings. The team rounded up late in the evening with a mini rally in Damongo, where General Secretary of the party, Johnson Isiedun Ketia, inaugurated 21 regional steering committees, Regional Council of Elders, and Peace and Reconciliation. And Mr. Isiedu charged the party functionaries in West Gonja not to relax in the strongholds, but instead work hard to prove their mettle. The former president is heading to Boli today and the Sola, Tuna, Kalba areas, where he will be meeting with chiefs and other stakeholders in the districts as he prepares for the 2020 general elections. You're watching Joy News today. Still to come, memories of a 94-year-old war veteran and the challenge of dealing with a horrifying experience from World War II. Joseph Ashite Hammond tells us a bit of his story.
When I sit quietly in my hall, I see the fighting, people dying, bigging, and then at the same time, their enemy dropping bombs.
You don't want to miss that, do stay with us. Thank you so much for staying here on Joy News today. Now, if you've ever had a conversation with a war veteran, you may hear them talk of night terrors, survivor's guilt, depression, and lingering sadness. I'm sure for many of you, you imagine them to have terrible temper and moods. But that's not the case, at least not for 94-year-old Joseph Ashite Hammond, who served in the Gold Coast Regiment and was part of World War II. He says there's often the urge to kill when he's angry, but he and his mates were trained to control that. There's more.
Fighting. God is wonderful. You see, your retentive memory, your mind, is printed there. It will not leave you until you die. It's like a distant picture. You see, sometimes when I sit quietly in my hall, sitting room, I see the fighting, crossing river, people dying, the artillery, shelling our positions, bigging, and then at the same time, their enemy dropping bombs, the whole ground shaking, like this. And we were in our trenches. If you lie, on the bare ground, snipers used to put in the trees, will see you and shoot you. So the moment the war subsided a bit, we started drinking, digging we had cutlasses, heavy ones. We dig the ground, everybody, to stay inside. When it's raining, inside the rain, everything, you just sit there with your, we call it cape, or rubber, this thing, rubber this thing. Then we cover our heads like that. Then we sit inside until. And occasionally, you have to raise your head because the enemy, they pass through the rain. One thing is, if you don't kill, you will be killed. Finish. So only we knew how to kill. But when we were coming home, finally, they assembled all of us, and the commander said, your general said, now you have been taught how to kill people, and you have done it. You have conquered the Japanese. We are victorious over these people. But let me tell you, now you are going to civil life. You have been taught to kill. But when you kill, you'll be tried and hanged. Civil life is different. So if somebody starts annoying you, so I don't get annoyed. If somebody annoys you, count about 5, 6 in your head. When he was annoying you, because when the thing comes, you feel the urge to kill. It comes from me like that. So I don't get annoyed at all.
You count 1 to 6?
Yeah, in your head. When he was getting you annoyed, you have to count 1 in your head, 1, to stop the person. Because when he continues, it will generate you, and then the killing instinct comes into you. If you don't take care, you go and kill the person.
For somebody like me, I can't even kill a fowl.
How? Because of my experience now, I don't kill even a fowl. During Sergeant Ajete's, I was standing, you have heard about him. I was standing 7 feet. I'm the only one alive now. Sergeant Ajete group. I'm the only one that survived. I'm alive now. Everybody, even President Kufa, I don't know it. British High Commissioner, they know it. That's why they were telling me, how for you have made history. As long as Ghana is on the map of the world, your name is always there.
I was just going to ask you whether you think that you and your colleagues have been appreciated enough, even with the veterans that sat here. Do you think that, Ghana as a country, we have paid our respects to you, or have we treated you with dignity?
No. Ghana does not, honor her heroes. Look, when we were in India, the Indians too, 1945, 43, 44, they were fighting for their independence. But 47, when they obtained their independence, Jawaharlal Nehru, their prime minister, honored all their heroes. They honored them. Ghanaians, they don't realize the gravity of serious this thing about our country. That when people attack us, it is the army that will save us. In Britain, they give respect a lot to the soldier. As I'm sitting here, you see all the whites, when they see me, you see they start smiling. Even women, they are women. They know the meaning of it. But Ghana, they don't give us help. When we met here, it is the British that are helping us.
You heard that war veteran sharing his story there. You're watching Joy News Today with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Coming up in business, we'll tell you why hoteliers are not upbeat about Ghana hosting the Secretariat of the Continental Free Trade Area.
If government is serious, about creating that impressive hub, to pull in more visitors, then we have to look at those challenges on the ground.
Daryl Kwao has got details shortly. Do stay.